welcome back to my channel, The Anonymous Budgeter. If you guys are new here, welcome, and if you're back for another video after such a long time, thank you guys so much for watching this video and supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. So by the title of the video, I'm going to be giving you an updated debt confession. The first time I filmed this video on my channel, I was working through $160,000, and it's been quite a while since I have uploaded a video, almost over a year, I believe. And so I just wanted to kind of like give you guys a little brief overview of, my debts, and then we're going to look at the numbers. I also want to let you know like my plan for my student loans, and then kind of how my budget has changed and what I'm doing a little bit differently. So hopefully this won't be such a long video and I can kind of like get it done in under 10 minutes. So let's get right into the video and let's go ahead and talk about the numbers. So when I had first filmed my debt confession, this was actually what I was working with. At the time, I was trying to pay off about $60,000 when I decided to start up my channel. But when I filmed my debt confession video, I was working on paying off $162,726.60. And I was working through the last four groups of my Nelnet student loans. So that was what I was working with back in, I think, 2023. And since then, I'm really happy to report that I have, paid down quite a few into my student loans. You guys know that I lived alone for a period of time, and then I moved back home to just sort of focus on paying off my loans. And that really did help me. I know a lot of people are not always comfortable with like moving back home, especially when you have grown adults, but I'm on a single income. I don't have any kids. I don't have a partner. It's just me. I don't have a side hustle. I rarely, work overtime or extra because that's not really available at my job at the moment. So in terms of the numbers, I have been working through a plan to get my student loans paid off within the next 18 months. Now, this all started because I'm not too sure if it was April or March, but my student loans went back into forbearance, meaning that I wasn't expected to make any payments, and I wasn't accumulating any or accruing any interest on my student loans. And that's because I'm currently in the SAFE program, and that is currently tied up in some legal issues. Not my business, not my problem. Didn't even ask to be placed into the SAFE program. I was just automatically put in there. So while they are figuring that out, I'm going to use that time to take advantage of not having any interest being accrued on my loans and also having zero payments due. I was expected to go back into repayment on August 17th of 2025, but they pushed it back to November 2025. So fine by me. Right now, at the moment, I'm working on paying off $78,897.02. Since my loans are back in forbearance, I am putting money into my high yield savings account just so that I can accumulate a little bit of interest into my account. And I currently have $16,000 in a high yield savings account for my student loans. I've been saving that since about April. And I believe in June, I also just threw $2,000 into my Nelnet student loan account. So instead of putting it into the high yield savings account, I decided to put it towards my student loans because at the time, I thought my repayment was going to be due in August. Essentially, I've kind of been saving about $18,000, and my goal was to save $22,000 to put towards my loan by August. Now that it's November, the repayments are going to be due. I have decided to just continue putting $2,000 for every pay period or every paycheck. Put $2,000 into my high yield savings account, and that money is going to go towards my student loans by the end of October, before repayment is due in November. I kind of wrote down my payroll calendar until October. So for every paycheck, at least $2,000 is going towards my Ally account for my student loans. I can, accrue a little bit of interest. I'm happy to report that at least for June 27th, I have put that $2,000 in there, and I get paid on Friday, which is the 11th, and I am going to schedule $1,000 to go directly into my high yield savings account. and we're just gonna rinse and repeat that until October 31st. Now, October is a magic month, and I'm getting paid on the 3rd, the 17th, and the 31st. However, I do plan to take that paycheck on the 17th and put that money into saving, just because I do have a trip coming up in November, and I also have two international trips that I'm going on, and also two Christmas is coming up, so there's gifts that I want to get. So I figure that that paycheck, I can save that money toward travel and gifts. One, I reach that goal because I am determined to save up all that money. I should have $34,000 saved up to throw towards my student loans, which is currently at about like $78,000. By November, once my student loans go back into repayment, I should have about $44,897.02 as like a starting balance that I need to work on at that point for like another like 12 or like 14 months. I have a goal of paying my student loans off by December 2026. I'm really praying that I can, get that done. Initially, I was going for like a more conservative kind of repayment plan, but I graduated in 2017 and I really wanted to have my student loans paid off before May of 2027, which would have been like 10 years, or which will be 10 years since I graduated. Also, too, I'll be 40 in 2026. I really wanted to have my student loans paid off before my 40th birthday, but life has other plans and that's okay. But once my loans are paid off, I can now look towards the future. Another update that I wanted to give you guys is that I have gone back to using cash envelopes and I have simplified my budget. So essentially, I have a little mini system that I use, which is I just have basically this. So I get this from the Dollar Tree. Well, this as well. Um, these three came from the Dollar Tree. It's really inexpensive. This is like under $5, and this I purchased from Walmart. So this is basically my little budget book that I'm using. So I kind of have like my little payoff planner and then my tracker. I always try to put like my student loan payoff and like a tracker in all of my little notebooks, just so that no matter which one I'm looking at, I have the plan in there. And then I just kind of use my budget as normal, use it as my budget. So I budget for the month, and then I do like I didn't do paycheck number 2 for the month. Well, no, that's July. So I'm budgeting for paycheck number 1 for July. I have a monthly budget, and then last month I did like a recap, and I budgeted for my paycheck, and I was tracking my expenses, and I'm still doing that for this month, which is, tracking my July expenses and then doing a July recap and doing that for the remainder of the year for the other months. So that's basically kind of like my budget book right there. This one is sort of like the book that I'm gonna kind of use to pre-plan. So this is my pre-planner budget book. I used to have this one, but it's like everything is like all over the place. So I had to get a new one from the Dollar Tree. And so for July, I'm just kind of like planning out, everything. So I'm gonna get paid this Friday, and I already planned out like kind of like what I have to account for in regards to my budget. And I moved back to doing paycheck to paycheck budget, but this time like my budget is really really tight, super super on the money, and I'm using cash for certain categories. I don't do sinking funds as much. So basically what I'm doing is like using cash, and because I moved back to cash, I have my cash wallet. So I am using cash for my personal groceries, gas, and then I also have gifts. And this is my deposit envelope. So before, at the end of a pay period, I'm going to go back to the bank and like deposit the money so that I can pay it off with my card. When I do a budget with me, I will kind of like tell you about that. I also filmed like a cash stuffing, which I need to upload, but I needed to film this first and then I'll upload it. So I'm a little bit behind, but I'm trying to catch up. And then I also have this calendar, which I really like. And I like, usually I'll do this for like the entire year, but you can tell for 2025, I have definitely neglected doing that. So I'm definitely going to finish writing off the rest of the year. And then once I do that, I'll have it on there so I can just pull that, because I do like this calendar. Um, and then what I'm basically using this is to kind of like track expenses. So every time I spend something, I'll like write it in those little gray boxes, and then the white boxes have like anything that's coming due for the month. So I know like what I can expect, and any little vacations or things that I have to do, kind of like a planner, but I just use it in the calendar. I never really use like the daily planner portion of this of like any calendar, but I really am trying to get into that. But again, the discipline is just not always there, and I'm trying to work on that. That discipline and consistency are the two things that I really do need to kind of like work on. So pray for me, guys. But yeah, that's like my little system that I have. I kind of started getting back into it about May. So I started tracking expenses in May and June and kind of seeing like how much I spend a week in groceries and like gas and things like that. And I really just try to like streamline it and try to be honest with myself about like how much I spend. If you guys want to follow me on this journey or support me, please consider subscribing to this channel and turn on the notification. Let me know as well if you're also on a debt free journey or debt repayment journey, whether it's student loans, credit cards, personal loans, or any consumer debt. I would love to follow you as well. I think I just want to commit to this and be really disciplined and build a community, because I don't really have anybody to talk about, my loans and things like that with. So, any encouragement, I would definitely appreciate it. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for checking out the video, for staying until the end, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.